Hello, my guys. Welcome to another episode of the Microwave Kicks. Yes, wow, it's an agreement for Liverpool and Hugo Ekitike. What a deal that is! That is such an expensive deal. For that kind of striker. Coming over to the Premier League. What a deal that was. See, initially I thought that was like the asking price of Eintracht Frankfurt would just, they'll probably cut it down to like maybe 60, 70 at the end of the day. But guess what? These guys are not joking. Like, they stood on their ground and they said, this is what we want. This is what we will get. And eventually, Liverpool budged on it. Yes, they were able to get a 5 million percent, discount, and they got the whole deal wrapped up for 95 million euros, 80 million, total base fee, and 15 million in add-ons. What a transfer that is. See, it's been going on for I think a week now or thereabouts. About, guess what? That was a very huge deal. And before I say anything, right, let's give credit to Chelsea sporting directors, because these guys unearth talents and they will take notice and go after them, because nobody noticed him. Yes, he was there with Marmoush. Nobody thought that he could be that kind of Premier League striker that would get so much attention, that would demand so much of publicity, and he will be bought for huge amount of money. Because even Marmoush, that was better than him in Eintracht Frankfurt, went for 70 million, to Manchester City. And again, Hugo Ekitike is quoted for 100 million euros. But first, before we talk about that, if you're new to this channel, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. It's your own way of encouraging this platform, and we're actually growing bigger and better and stronger. So join the family today. So I'm going to talk about Hugo Ekitike. I'm also going to talk about mostly about Victor Osimhen. So let's just round up the Hugo Ekitike whole issue. I'm going to do another video on Hugo Ekitike, but let's really dive a little bit on him, on his issue, and Osimhen. So congratulations to Liverpool. They finally got their man. What a deal. What a transfer. I don't see Eintracht Frankfurt will always sell expensive. They did it with Kolomani. They sold Kolomani for 95 million to PSG, and they bought Hugo Ekitike from PSG for 16.5 million. Now they are selling that same Hugo Ekitike for 95 million to Liverpool, and Kolomani is worth 30 million at this point. It's in Juventus now, it's worth 30 million. So it's crazy. It's crazy how the transfer window could be. It's crazy how the transfer market will be. But credit to the Chelsea directors, because those guys unearth talents. Those guys, they discover talents like somebody discovering oil. What a team that is. So credit to them, Lawrence Stewart and the rest. Credit to all of them. They've been doing fantastic, but they know that they're not going to spend that big on such a player, such an unproven talent. They understand what it means of taking such a huge risk, spending big amount of money on strikers and big amount of money on an unproven player. But that being said, let's talk about Victor Osimhen and how this relates to Victor Osimhen. The thing is, Victor Osimhen has been in demand, in the sense that not in demand for the big clubs, and I don't know why. This guy is quality. He's 10 times better, than Hugo Ekitike. He's just older than Hugo Ekitike with like 3 years or so, or 3 years or thereabouts. He's a very, very good talent. Victor Osimhen has done it in Napoli. He has won the league with Napoli. He has won the league with Galatasaray after years. Napoli 30 years, Galatasaray 6 years or so. He has, won the African best player, award. He has done it. He has been there. He has been consistent. He has experience. Has done it in Europe. Best highest goal scorer over and over again. So he has everything a big club wants. But the question remains: why are these big clubs not going after Victor Osimhen? Why are they shying away from signing Victor Osimhen? What is the reason why no big club is actually going after Victor Osimhen? Because currently Manchester United needs a striker. But instead, they went into the market, spent 120 million to get 130 million to get Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo. None of them is an out-and-out striker. None. They are yet to still sign a striker. Liverpool wants a striker, and they went for Hugo Ekitike. Chelsea want a striker and they went for Delap and João Pedro. So why not Victor Osimhen? Why are these clubs trying for Victor Osimhen? Arsenal want a striker and they're going for Gyökeres instead of Victor Osimhen. So what is the reason? Why? What's going on? Why are clubs shying away, from Victor Osimhen? Why are they shying away from buying Victor Osimhen? Now, I list out 5 reasons why I think. I'm going to run them quickly because of time. I list out 5 reasons why I think, clubs are shying away from buying Victor Osimhen. Because if it was about money, he would have gone to Saudi. So obviously, let's take that out of the picture. It was not about money. He needed a home. He needed a place to call home. He needed a place to settle in. He needed a place where he was wanted, where he is wanted. He needed a place, safe space. He needed a place where you could thrive. He needed a good project. Now, let's not forget PSG also wants a striker. Juventus wants a striker. There are many clubs in Europe who want a striker. But let me give you a few reasons why I think clubs are not budging in on him. First of all, Nigeria and African media is not helping. When you have such a talent in Victor Osimhen, you should hype that talent to the very last. You should hype that talent. You should always put the talent on the media. You should always, always say the good side of these players. Like how the English journalists do when it comes to Harry Kane. Harry Kane went for 100 million at age 30 to Bayern Munich. You could see the hype around him before he left. Yes, he's a good player, no doubt. But you could see how England hyped their own. Jack Grealish, that fizzled out after many years at Manchester City, was hyped out. Was overhyped. So many players, Phil Foden, overhyped. So many players are being hyped by the English media. Not just English, Spain, Spanish media, German media, but English media are the best in hyping players. So when African talents, don't hype their own, it really affects the player and it affects the value of that player, on the market. So the media in Nigeria and the media in Africa has been below par when it comes to, getting their own talents out there to the world to make them visible to the world. All right? Because if you don't hype your own, you don't expect strangers or you don't expect people from elsewhere to come hype your own for you. So you have to hype your own yourself. Now, moving on. You see this relationship with De Laurentiis. We always have this black cloud always hanging on this player's head. That man, I'll do a video, a proper video. The title of the video will be De Laurentiis versus Osimhen. All right? I will tell you 10 players that have issues with De Laurentiis. But that's I'll do that one in the next few days. De Laurentiis, the president of Napoli, is, I wouldn't want to call him a mafia, but I will call him a very hard negotiator. A very hard, person to negotiate with when it comes to buying his players or having to do business with him. He has done it with so many players. But like I said, in that video, I will do a holistic view about him and his players. So, like I said, De Laurentiis' relationship with players are not nice. When you leave Napoli, before you leave Napoli, there has to be some kind of fight between you and that guy because he would not let you go. You can only live on his own terms. He decides when you go. He decides how you go. He decides the price that will be paid for you as a player. He has all the checks in him. Like, it takes everything on the table. Do you get what I mean? Is he has all options. So that's one thing with him. He doesn't have a good relationship with players. So that really affects the player going forward. In order for the player to have a relationship with another club or for that club to, because they know that he's a tough negotiator, they just don't want to involve themselves in him. Because if you have an agreement with the player, having an agreement with the club is another big issue. So De Laurentiis is not the person to have a negotiation with. So that's why most clubs are shying away from this deal. That's second issue. Third, the African Cup of Nations. When you host a tournament in the middle of a season, it affects the value of that player in the sense that if you're not up there, the best of the best, if you're not delivering often, it affects you. All right? It affects because one, your club might not want to let you go. Two, if you're not delivering like Mohamed Salah, every game goes an assist, every game goes an assist. it affects you. If you are not the face of a club like Mohamed Salah, it affects you. Now, when you host a tournament in the middle of a season, it affects that player, because at the end of the day, like what Alex Ferguson did years ago, he doesn't buy African players. Why? Because of Nations Cup. So you host Nations Cup in the middle of the season, it affects that player. It affects clubs actually looking to buy that player. All right, so that is another reason, why. Yes, I understand is the African weather. They need to host it when it's viable. You need to host it when it's okay, when the weather is all right. I understand, but there needs to be a balance, with it. There really needs to be a balance with when it's being hosted, because trust me, it's really affecting those players. Those players get their livelihood from foreign clubs, so most of them, 90% of them does not play their football in Africa, so it affects them, naturally. Also, the next thing is Victor Osimhen's agents. A player cannot represent himself every time. It's hard to even see players who represent themselves. All right? You as an agent, you understand the market. You understand the price. You understand everything. You understand how it goes. You need to keep working and keep working and keep working. Look at agents offering their players to clubs, doing the negotiations, trying to put their players out there, trying to pay medias to, cause a stir in the media, trying to push everything, push narratives, let the media know that even if it's not true, tell this club that Manchester United is interested in Osimhen. You tell this club that Arsenal wants to pay today. You tell this club that PSG wants to play. It causes a stir. It causes something in the market that clubs will be vying up to buy this player. That is what agents do. Agents pay media to do a narrative, or to do even if it's not really true facts, they make it happen. Fabrizio, yes, is one of them, because he could tell you a club is interested in a player today. Tomorrow, another club is interested. Those are the agents passing information to him. That is what agents do. Victor Osimhen agents, to me, is nothing to write home about. Yes, you're a tough negotiator also. You don't want to reduce the salary for blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that. That's the last point. But still, you have to represent him well. He's the face of African football. He just won the African, the Nations League, and the best player in Africa. He got to the final of the Nations Cup. So you need to always hype this guy. You need to be the one in the forefront of all of this. When it comes to negotiating with De Laurentiis, you have to be the one being tough on him, making sure your players will leave, making sure the times your players go to the right top. But you are not doing nothing. Imagine it's Jorge Mendes managing Victor Osimhen. He would have been gone a long time ago now. Would have gotten a better club. How would you advise your client in Victor Osimhen as an agent to sign a contract with Napoli? Signing a contract with Napoli, signaling after the winning the Scudetto, signaling implies that you want to stay. Now, okay, they put a clause in your contract. That clause, clubs are ready to buy that clause. Clubs are ready to activate that clause. And you are not agreeing because of salary issue. We'll get to salary issue. But at the end of the day, last season, he wants to go. It didn't work out with Chelsea. You still allow him sign an extra year contract again. Like, are you okay as an agent? Are you really okay? You are the one really putting this guy in this situation. You rejected Saudi. That's to show that it's not about the money. It's about what this guy wants. This guy wants a happy place. Now let's move to the last point, is salary. Salary is another reason why clubs are really not budging on him. Like I said just now, the agents are not making things, easy for him. Because if clubs would want to pay that amount of money, I'm not saying it's not worth it, it's worth it. But with the whole situation, with the fact that he rejected Saudi and he still wants to play at the higher level, it is better for him to have compromised. Yes, or find a middle ground. I might be earning 300k, and I say a club who probably wants to pay me 250. We might round up in 280 or 270, because I'm still playing at the highest level. I'm playing the Champions League. I have a potential to win leagues. I still, at the end of the day, I still have a potential to go to a smaller club. That same club right now in Galatasaray. I'm not saying Galatasaray is a small club, but at the end of the day, after playing there, even if I'm 30, I can still play in Gala. I can still play in Galatasaray. I can still go to Saudi. So the agent is not really helping matters with the whole salary issue and everything. But that's my point. That's what I think. Tell me what you think. Add your own points. Tell me what you think. Why clubs are not really, budging in on buying Victor Osimhen right now. Let me know what you think. If you are new to this channel, hit the like button. Share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to this channel. Very, very important. Always comment. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. So I come your way again next time. That's my thoughts. I rest my case. I'll do another video concerning De Laurentiis and Osimhen. Share your thoughts in the comments. Be cool. Stay blessed.